French President Emmanuel Macron is on a 3-day state visit to China in a bid to persuade China to use its influence over Russia to bring peace in Ukraine. In the latest, the Chinese President Xi Jinping led the welcome ceremony for the French delegation, where Macron received a guard of honor in Beijing. Macron has met with the Chinese Premier as well and National Assembly chairperson at the Great Hall of the People. Macron, who is accompanied by EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen, hopes to smoothen ties with Beijing. Both Macron and von der Leyen will separately hold talks with the Chinese president. The French president, who arrived in Beijing yesterday, emphasized on how Europe must resist reducing trade and diplomatic ties with Beijing, which is at odds with the West over issues including Taiwan, and China's close ties with Russia as well. Meanwhile, hours before his arrival in Beijing, Macron held a phone conversation with US President Joe Biden, during which they agreed to engage with China in a bid to try to hasten the end of the war in Ukraine. For more on this, we were earlier joined by Dr. Antoine Bondish, who is a research fellow at the Paris-based Foundation for Strategic Research and associate professor at Sciences Po. Listen into his insights.
The president has very realistic expectations, and then these expectations are limited. I'm not sure anything is going to come out from this interview between the two state leaders, but at least President Macron has a unique opportunity to deliver some key message to the Chinese counterparts, not only to make sure that China does not support militarily Russia, that's one of the key objectives, through warnings that it would go against European security, and that, of course, there would be consequences. And second, President Macron has a unique opportunity to ask China to maybe clarify its position on something Russia had the intention of doing, that is, to deploy nuclear weapons on the territory of Belarus. China has always been opposed about deploying nuclear weapons abroad, and China has always been opposed to nuclear sharing. So it would be quite interesting to have the Chinese position, official position on that.